Formula One memes. I love them, you love them, everyone loves them. But do you actually know what they mean and where they come from? Well, today, I'll try to explain every single one to the best of my ability and in no particular order to test your wheel knowledge. Here we go. Max and the gas station. Okay, it's kinda effed up that this became a meme, but Verstappen did it to himself by trauma dumping at the most inopportune times.
My dad did that once to a mechanic with a fork.
But this basically references how Jos, Max's dad, said during an interview with David Giga Jaw Coulthard that he got angry at Max for not winning a kart race, so he just did what any normal good dad would do. He bought him some lunch at the gas station and calmly taught him a lesson. Just kidding, he fucking left him there and proceeded to refuse to speak to him. For a week. Lord Latifi. Nicholas Latifi is one of, if not the greatest Formula One driver of all time. He drove for Williams from 2020 to 2022 and scored a grand total of 9 points over the course of his career, a record only a few drivers could match. He also won the 2021 World Championship and celebrated by hitting the wall to assert dominance, and enjoyed mingling with Mick Schumacher a lot. For some reason. All of these achievements earned him the iconic nickname Lord Latifi. He then got axed in 2022 because he had accomplished everything there is to accomplish in F1 and decided it's time to do business instead and give a chance for the other drivers. Nico Rosberg. There is two memes related to this guy. One is that he beat Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion in equal machinery in 2016, which references how Sky Sports loves to mention that Nico Rosberg, the Monaco-based YouTuber, beat Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion in equal machinery back in 2016. And the other meme is the selfie curse, where every time Nico has taken a selfie in front of a team's garage and posted it, wishing them good luck, they retired or had what you would call the opposite of good luck. Fernando Alonso is a rookie. Now this one fills up every comment section under a Fernando Alonso post, and there is two places where this meme originated from. One is that he is one of the oldest Formula One drivers with a career that spans over 20 years. I mean, this guy's career is literally older than the youngest driver on the grid next year, and yet his performance is still peak. But the second reason for the rookie nickname is orders of magnitude more interesting, since it actually comes from an obscure crash he had in 2015 during testing for McLaren, where the car allegedly electrocuted him, which then led to him to be taken to the hospital. But when he woke up, he told the nurses in Spanish, "I am Fernando Alonso, I race karts, and my dream is to drive for Ferrari's F1 team," which led people to come to the natural conclusion that that day, Alonso became an immortal rookie, hence why he's still performing the way he's doing to this day. Obviously, Ferrari are clowns. This is in reference to this image, which is in reference to how bad Ferrari got over the years with their atrocious strategy calls, and I mean atrocious. Bad reliability.
What happened, guys? No power.
Questionable shenanigans that may or may not involve an illegal engine. I made a whole video about it. Well, technically two, so you can just watch those instead. 10-second penalty to Ocon. Now this one is still relevant to this day, somehow, which is in reference to the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix, where Ocon, Esti Besti back on the podium, baby, yeah, that guy, got a 5-second penalty for putting his car too far forward at the start grid box. Okay, that's a bit unlucky. But then he got 10 seconds because a mechanic touched the car before they could serve the 5-second penalty. Even unluckier, alright. But then he sped in the pit lane and got another 5-second penalty whilst trying to serve the 10 seconds that he got whilst trying to serve the original 5-second penalty. He even got the commentators laughing at him.
Coming in to serve a penalty. Yeah. It's not funny really, is it?
This led to a situation whereby every time you'd look at the TV, there would be a graphic saying penalty for Ocon, which was absolutely absurd to say the least. Pain. Remember how I said Ferrari were clowns earlier? Well, Charles found that out the hard way, because back in 2022, Ferrari surprised everyone and pulled up with a monster car, instantly making them the favorites to win the title. But fast forward a few races into the season, and Ferrari began doing what they do best. So the car started exploding, catching fire, and they messed up his strategy at his home race to add insult to injury. So in response to this, we got these absolutely cinematic and artistic scenes that belong in a museum for capturing the rawest human emotion there is. Pain. Okay, this one will require me to use some inclusive language, so alright, here we go. Mentally challenged drivers. This is a category that references all the memes that came from drivers that, let's just say they're not the brightest, and may or may not enjoy an activity involving windows and lick. Look, I tried, okay? This includes drivers such as, but not limited to, Lance Strulovich, Nikita Mazepin, The Cucumber, Logan Sargent, Pastor Maldonado, and others. I don't know, you name them or something. Charles wearing a banana suit. During the pandemic, a lot of F1 drivers were streaming on Twitch, such as George Russell and Lando Norris, and among those was Charles Leclerc too, who one day thought it would be a great idea, and I agree, to become a banana.
Oh my god. I've never looked so good.
Yeah, that's literally it. There really isn't much to this. But there is much to the next one though. Carlos Sainz wearing a chili suit. Before the 2024 Qatar Grand Prix, Carlos Sainz got the brilliant idea after Zhou gifted him a chili suit to make a bet that if Chinaman managed to score a point for Sauber before the end of the season, he would wear it. And then 3 days later, Schumacher came out swinging for no reason with that newfound motivation, and he somehow wiggled his way into the top 10 to score 4 whole points, after which this happened. Lewis Hamilton drove for Ferrari before. This requires quite a bit of wheel knowledge, but it's basically poking fun at how the McLaren of 2007 that Hamilton drove is technically a Ferrari because of Spygate, which isn't true because if that were the case, McLaren would have been banned indefinitely, but anyways. Suck my
intimate parts, mate.
During the 2017 Hungarian Grand Prix, Kevin Magnussen pushed Nico Hulkenberg wide at turn 3, which led to this awkward interaction after the race where Magnussen asked Nico to suck his Magnussen.
Most unsportive driver of the great. My balls, mate.
Speaking of Hulkenberg no podium. This is referencing the unusually bizarre amount of times Nico Hulkenberg, a very good midfield driver might I add, got close to finishing in the podium but somehow managed to cock it up such that he doesn't, which led to the meme, Hulkenberg will never get a podium. Nothing, just an incident. During the second round of the 2012 WSK Euro Series, Leclerc and Verstappen were fighting each other, and Leclerc pushed Verstappen slightly wide, which led to this interview after the race.
Max, what's happened? No, it's just unfair. I'm leading, he wants to pass, he pushed me, I push him back, and after he pushed me off the track. It's not fair, eh?
What's happened with Max?
Nothing, just an incident on the race.
DTS fans, Drive to Survive is a critically acclaimed Netflix series that attempts to capture what it's like to be part of the Formula One world, from the highs to the lows, whether it is from the driver's perspective or the team principles. It completely fails, however, to explain anything about Formula One other than the overblown drama, which led some people who watch the series to believe that's how F1 actually is, which just makes them look stupid in social media. Something which actual F1 fans now use to insult each other, to the point where if you give a mildly unusual take, you're getting called a DTS fan. Multa21 Seb, Multa21. You've probably seen this one thrown around whenever there's a discussion about team orders, so let me break it down for you real quick. During the 2013 Malaysian Grand Prix, Mark Webber was leading the race, followed by his teammate Sebastian Vettel, who received team orders over the radio telling him to hold position, i.e. multi-21, with 2 being Mark Webber's number and 1 being Sebastian's. However, Seb ignored this and took the lead from Webber anyway, and won the race, which didn't exactly please Mark. So he said this to him in the cooldown room.
Multi-21, Seb. Yeah, multi-21.
I knew he'd hit the brakes. During the 2005 Japanese Grand Prix, Fernando Alonso pulled an absolute masterclass of an overtake around the outside of Michael Schumacher at the famous 130R corner. After the race, when confronted about this move, he said, "I knew he would hit the brakes because he has a wife and 2 kids at home," which is just badass. 30 years ago. During the 2014 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix weekend, a journalist thought he should ask what every single one of us have been wondering since we started watching Formula One. Gentlemen, a short view back to the past. 30 years ago, Niki Lauda told us Take a monkey, place him into the cockpit, and he is able to drive the car. 30 years later, Sebastian told us, I had to start my car like a computer, it's very complicated. And Nico Rosberg said that during the race, I don't remember which race, he pressed the wrong button on the wheel. Question for you both, is Formula 1 driving today too complicated with 20 and more buttons on the wheel? Are you too much under effort, under pressure? What are your wishes for the future concerning the technical program during the race? Less buttons, more, or less and more communication with your engineers? Yeah. Boah. Kimi Raikkonen, also known as the Iceman. He's an awesome driver for a full-time party animal and part-time F1 driver. He has only one world championship to his name, but has shown ridiculous speed, to the point where he almost beat Prime Schumacher if his McLaren didn't fart so much. But that's besides the point. You see, Kimi isn't a fan of the media, and has built a reputation of saying this whenever a mic is shoved in his face. This happens so much that it's basically synonymous with him. If you see an F1 fan and tell them "boah," they'll know exactly what you're talking about. Max is Sid the Sloth. Max Verstappen has a very unique look. And by look, I don't mean the Red Bull outfit that's basically welded into his body at this point, I'm pretty sure. I'm talking about the striking resemblance he has to a certain sloth named Sid from Ice Age, which nobody had noticed until this happened. Osama bin Russell. This references this image of George Russell, which resulted from the terrorism Russell likes to pull on everyone around him, only to start yelling on the radio, "He turned into me," no matter what actually happened. Here, let me give you some examples. During the 2022 US Grand Prix, Russell nuked Sainz and said the usual.
"He just cut across me."
In the 2022 Austrian Grand Prix, he nuked Perez and said this.
"Nothing I could do, he just turned into me."
On September